we're back again. So we're live. We are working on our Pet Tricks Day bingo card. So today we have got tricks that begin with the letter E. That is one of the squares on the bingo card near the bottom. So there are ways to get a trick that begins with the letter E. If you don't already have one, then you might have a trick that you already do that you could rename. Or it might be that there's a trick you wanted to teach your dog and you haven't got a name for it, but you could actually then maybe go, oh, okay, we could try something that begins with the letter E. So it's thinking outside the box a little bit sometimes, but I've got 4 tricks that I can show you here that have got the letter E as the beginning. Some of them we all think, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that, and others you might think, oh, God. Really? But that's what we're here to do, is to explore and work together. So let's come down here. We've got Merlin and Ripley. Hello, gang. So the first one I'm going to show you, I'm calling ear, as in my ear. So some people call it whisper, some people call it other things, but basically what I want my dogs to do is to look like they're whispering a secret into my ear. Okay, so what we do is, ideally, if you've got a snoot with your dog, then that works really nicely. And a snoot is basically a hide face with a much smaller area. You snoot, yes. So that is what a snoot looks like. Ripley, snoot, yes. Okay, so if I turn Ripley round, Ripley snoot, no, off, snoot, yes, that's what a snoot looks like. Okay, and if you haven't done that before, to teach that, you basically want to have your finger and thumb making a circle. Treat goes in, give your dog the treat by having your hand in front of their nose, and then gradually each time you treat, your treat's going to be more and more your side, so that your dog puts their nose in here like so, and then you give them the treat, and then eventually you'd add the word snoot, yes, and then they know to put their nose in somewhere when you want them to. So then we can make that shape, so it's that, but with 2 hands, and we can put it next to our ear. Okay, so Merlin, ear, snoot, yes, good boy. So I can start putting a new word to it. So I said ear and then snoot, give them the idea. Ripley chop, and Ripley, ear, yes, good girl. So because they know the body language, I don't really need to worry about the old word, which was snoot. So Merlin, hang on, ear, yes, good boy. Good boy. That's very good. And Ripper chop. And ear. Yes, good girl. She hasn't actually done this before. This is new for Ripley. Merlin's done it ages ago, like a year ago. So that's your first trick beginning with E, is ear. So teaching them to do a snoot inside your hands like that. Or it could be that you have your thumb in there and they do a nose touch to your thumb. But ear. Okay, so trick beginning with E. Like I say, thinking outside of the box. We have got embrace as our next one. So for embrace, what I went for, round there Merlin, is what is Merlin's paw wrap around my arm rather than wrapping a pole. So all we have is, I'm going to bring Merlin next to me here. Hold on. Merlin, where's your paw? Yes. So we get a nice paw wrap on my hand. I don't know how much you can, I can't see from down here. And Merlin, no, get your head up, you Wally. Paw wrap, wrap. No, wrap. Yes, good boy. So he knows that that's what I want him to do. And then I can change the word. So Merlin, embrace. Merlin, embrace. Embrace. Yes, good boy. So I can start changing the word. And I can do that with Ripley as well. You go over there. Ripper chipper chop. And Ripley, no, wrap. Good girl. Ripley, paw wrap. Yes. And Ripley, embrace. Yes, good girl. Okay, so that's then a different one. So that's an existing trick that we normally do on my leg or on a pole. I'm asking them to do it on my arm, and I'm changing the word to embrace. Okay, so that gives us our letter E. Let's just bring Merlin around the other side. Hey, Ripley. Merlin, embrace. Yes, good boy. And embrace. Can you sit for a change? Embrace. Good boy. Nice. And Ripley. Embrace. Yay, good girl. And embrace. Yes, good girly. Okay, so that's another way of doing a trick beginning with the letter E. So that's 2 tricks already. We have got, oh God, I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget one. Embrace. Oh yes. Excuse me. So there is, genuinely, in trick titles, there is a trick called easy button. Love you. It's just a button that the dog has to press with their paw, but it's known as an easy button because the original type buttons like this all said easy, and I think it says something like that was easy, so it's used in like board games and things like that. So that's what we can use for an E. That's an easy button. So Merlin, can I have paw? Paw? You're not looking. Good boy. So we start off by getting just a paw target, first of all. Don't worry about whether they press it or not. Ripley, paw. Oh, good girl. Just like that. And so we're looking for them to obviously put their paw and put their weight onto the button to make the noise. Now, these guys are used to using a bell, which is much more delicate, so they haven't got to touch it much to make the noise. Normally Aero that does the button because she had the bigger paws. So, Ripley over there. Merlin, come around me. Good boy, paw. Love you. I don't even know. I can't even see who's doing that now. So we've got, I don't know if you can hear the button, it's saying love you. Merlin? Love you. Good. Ripley, paw? Love you. Good girl. So if your dog isn't sure and they haven't done that before, you start off by working on a paw target, so getting a paw to hand. If they haven't done a paw to hand before, then an easy-ish way to get that, good girl Ripley, is to start by bringing your hand down to your dog's shoulder, running your hands down the leg, and then they'll lift the paw up, and then we can treat at the same time. And gradually, when we keep doing that, we get what Merlin's doing now, which is offering the paw way before we need it, and we start calling that paw. Once they're okay with that, the next stage is to have things in our hand for our dogs to learn to paw the things. You go get that, Ripley chip, Ripley paw, and other paw, good girl. So they start learning to target the thing that's in your hand. Once they can target a thing in your hand, Merlin paw, good boy. Then we can start bringing it to the ground, good boy. And then we start asking them to put a bit more weight, or we might need to lure them over it a bit more. Ripley, there was nothing there, darling. I'm sorry. Merlin paw, do it properly. Paw, no. Love you. Good boy. Ripley, paw. So she's not pressed it. I might need to lure her. Good girl. Slightly over the button a bit more, and then she presses it properly. So, like I say, this happens to say love you, but the original easy button would have said easy across it and say something like that was easy. Hence, the name of the trick is easy button. Look it up. It is a genuine thing. I'm not just making it up. So, that's 3 tricks beginning with E, and I bet you didn't think there'd be any. The last one is called the elephant trick, and again it is a genuine trick. It's known as the elephant trick in tricks circles for all sorts of animals, including dogs. And basically what we're looking for is that we teach our dogs to do front paws up on a small item, and then once they can do a paws up comfortably, we start making it into a pivot, and once the dogs can actually pivot, it becomes the elephant trick. Hello, you like a paws up too, don't you? So I'll show you with Merlin first because he needs a bit of help for this. So once they're doing paws up confidently, so we start off by luring them to put their feet on something, and when they're happy with that, we can move on. Once they've got their paws up, we're going to bring a treat in both hands down to their nose, and we're going to move them around like Merlin's done there in whichever direction we are working them. There's a good boy. You don't want to go far. If this is the first time they've done it, keep it very short, because they're using different muscles when they go sideways. I've still got a treat there. Yes, good boy. And then, once they get the hang of that, we can make it a bigger trick. And we can ask them to do a bit more with it. So, Ripley, can you pivot? Pivot, pivot. Good girl. Can you pivot that way? So we're not having to move around with them. They get the idea. And then we can make it bigger again. Ripley, pivot. Can you pivot? You're not going to do it, no? Nope. Good girl. And eventually get them to do a complete 360, which is then when we have a complete elephant trick. You get that? Ripley, come here. Good girl. Pause up and pivot. Good girl. Good girl. That's it. Yes. Okay, so that is our elephant trick. That is how we do the 4th trick, beginning with E, is working on a pivot with our dogs. Doesn't have to be high. That is better off to be shorter for a lot of dogs. They don't need to be on there for very long. These guys like a paws up, which is why they're here for so long. But it can literally be, I know, guide them paws on, treat, let them get off, do that a few times for a couple of little sessions, and then ask them to do pause up and have a go at just one step in any direction. They don't need to go very far at all. And once they're getting the hang of it, then we can ask them to go a little bit further and a few extra steps in whichever direction they're going in. Do make sure that your flooring is not slippery, because they're moving sideways. They don't need their foot to be sliding out. And if they get tired and they start bringing themselves off of the item you're using, just stop doing that trick for a bit, because they could literally be getting tired with muscle fatigue, because when they stand like this, all their weight is on their back end. So just to be aware of that as well. So there's 4 tricks for you there that begin with E, ready for Pet Tricks Bingo. So we've got ear, we've got embrace, we have the easy button, and we have the elephant trick. So give them a go. If you need any help, do let us know. If you've got a question, pop it in the comments. I know you two are very funny. And obviously if we can help, then we always will. Pet Tricks Day is the 30th of September, so we've got lots of things going on leading up till then. And if you have a look on Facebook on National Pet Tricks Day, then there will be all sorts of lovely things coming up there. But for people that aren't on Facebook or choose not to be on there for any reason, then we'll have lots of things coming up on this channel. And you can also look up and get the emails through on Pet Tricks Day by commenting here, and we will get the information out to you. Or you can contact us at Dog Training for Essex and Suffolk, and we will help you with that. Okay, take care.